Hello there and welcome. I'm Bob Proctor. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to share some ideas with you to give you an overview of something Sandy Gallagher and I, my business partner, are going to do in the very near future. I want you to pay real close attention to this. We've been doing this for a long time. I've been in this business now for 57 years. Sandy Gallagher has been in it now for the past 10 years. And she spent her commercial career up to that point as a securities attorney. She was buying, selling banks, merging banks. She has a lot of information when it comes to money. So we formed a partnership about 10 years ago. I'd been in the business for many, many years, and it's working very well. A lot of people are getting helped. Now, for the next few minutes, I want to talk about you. I want you to just think about you for a moment. I want you to think about your life. I want you to think about how you're living versus how you'd really like to live. You see, pay close attention to what we're doing, and you're going to find out that you can actually create your own economy. Now, I learned that many years ago when a man told me, he said, Bob, if you'll read this book and do exactly what I tell you, you can have anything you want. Now, I did not believe that, but after talking to him for a while, I believed he believed it. Guy was happy, he was healthy, he was wealthy. I was unhappy, I was sick, and I was broke. I had no formal education, I had no business experience. He said, that doesn't matter, Bob. What's happened in the past is the past. What happens in the future is based on the decisions you make. Now, I said, I know how to earn money. I know how to be happy, and I know how to stay healthy. If you'll do exactly what I tell you, your life will change. Well, do you know, it did. Over the next year, I multiplied my income. In fact, my life changed so much, I made a decision on one thing. From that point on, I would always have a mentor. I would have some kind of a coach, and I would pick someone that knows how to do what I want to do. And then I'd do exactly what they told me. And that's what I've done. And I've been doing that now for over half a century. I sat down and took a pen out one day and said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. Well, right now I'm broadcasting all over the world. And I'm going to show you how you can really make things happen. Growth is a normal part of life. If something's not growing, it's dying. Now, if we're going to grow, there's one thing we're going to have to do. We're going to have to change. We cannot stay where we are and get better results. It just doesn't work. Now, this man said to me, Bob, you change your paradigm and you'll change your life. I didn't even know what paradigm was. I certainly didn't know how to spell it, didn't understand it. He said, let me show you what a paradigm is. He said, you told me that you wanted to earn more money. That's all I wanted. I figured if I had enough money, my problems would go away. See, I was earning a little bit and I owed a lot. I owed everybody money. And I couldn't seem to get out of debt. I just couldn't seem to do it. I'd pay one bill and another one would pop up. Well, he said, let me tell you something. There's two things that you must know if you're going to create wealth. They're not difficult. Anybody can learn them. You have to know where you are. You have to know where you're going. And then you've got to get moving in that direction. Now, this is so simple and so obvious that when you start studying this, you're going to ask yourself, why are so many people stuck? And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people are stuck. Most people get the same result this year as they got last year. Well, it may have fluctuated a little bit, but not very much. Do you know, with the potential we've got, we should double, triple, quadruple our potential, our results. Because we're God's highest form of creation. We've got mental powers that would blow you away as you start to study them. So the obvious answer is then, well, people mustn't have goals. And I suppose that's true in a lot of cases. But I think a lot of people have goals, they just don't know how to get them. I don't think that's where the problem is. The problem's over here in understanding where we are. And most people really don't understand where they are. Well, they know where they are physical. You know, I'm standing in the middle of a field and a farm and so. I'm walking down a main street in Fifth Avenue in New York. They know where they are physically, but mentally they don't know where they are. They don't know why they keep getting the same results over and over and over. They keep same reoccurring problem. Well, he said, I'm going to tell you why. He says, because of paradigms. Because of paradigms. And then he said, Bob, you've got to learn to control the flow of the thought energy, and you've got to let it flow freely to and through you, and it'll improve everything that it connects with. See, there's an energy flowing to and through us. I'm not going to take the time to go into it here, but you can actually photograph the energy leaving a body. I think you may have seen that or heard of it. It's called Kirlian photography. A man named Semyon Kirlian back in 1934 in Russia perfected a form of photography where you can photograph mass and you can photograph the energy coming from it. This thing we're living in is a massive energy. Do you know there's about 11 million kilowatt hours per pound potential energy locked up in the electrons in the atoms of our body? We're just walking dynamos. We don't understand how to direct it. Well, let's take a look. What is a paradigm? A paradigm is a mental program that has almost, I say almost, exclusive control over our habitual behavior. Now think of this for a moment. Almost all of our behavior is habitual. So what we're really saying is that paradigms are controlling our life. We're not controlling our life at all. Now consider this. People go to school, they gather all kinds of information, they may have degrees, come right off the end of their business card. So they're not lacking in the smarts department, in the intellect department. They've got the knowledge. They're not using it. Why do so many people graduate from university, deep in debt from going to university, and they can't find work? How could you have all that knowledge and not find work? How could you have all that knowledge and be broke? Well, I'm telling you why. It's because of paradigms. Now, this is an interesting subject, and this is a black and white matter. There's no gray matter here. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how many hours you put in. I've been working at this for over 50 years. I'm very familiar with it. If the paradigm does not change, ultimately the results will remain much the same from one year to the next. And that's really what happens to most people. If you only remember one thing I'm saying, I want you to burn this into your mind. When paradigms stay in control, nothing changes. Now, you can try as hard as you want to change some area in your life. If the paradigm remains in control, you're toast. It just will not work. So we got to ask ourselves some questions. How do we control the flow? Well, we've got the ability to choose. We've got phenomenal mental faculties. What is a paradigm shift? What is it? Well, it's an interesting thing. When we really cause the paradigm shift, everything happens. Now, we're doing a program. It's called a paradigm shift. It's a seminar. I don't care where you are in the world. I can come right onto your pad, right onto your computer, right onto your phone, anywhere in the world where there's an internet connection, and you can attend a seminar that I'm doing with Sandy Gallagher on paradigms. It is a powerful program, and we're coming right into your home. Now, what is it? It's a resourceful environment that we create where people from all over the world collaborate, they mastermind, and explore opportunities while developing financial independence by setting up multiple sources of income. Look at that phrase right at the bottom of the slide. Multiple sources of income. Way back many years ago, I was trying to figure out, what do wealthy people do that's so different? I've met wealthy people that were absolutely brilliant, and you could understand why they're wealthy. But I've met other people who aren't very bright at all, and they're also wealthy. So it's a cross-section of people. You'll find men and women. You'll find young and old. You'll find from every nation, every culture. You'll find the wealthy and poor. Well, what is the concept? Wealthy people, all, almost without exception. I say almost because I don't know for certain if everybody does, but I'm inclined to think they do. They have multiple sources. They don't have one source of income. They have many sources of income. I have sources of income from all over the world because I've set up a company that operates all over the world. But we show you how to do that too. You can. You can earn money while you're sleeping. I did last night, and I will tonight, and you can too. The Paradigm Shift Seminar is a beauty. There's only two known ways to change a paradigm. Just two. Go ask any psychologist, any psychiatrist. The paradigm is like a program in our mind that controls our behavior. Doesn't matter how much we know, our behavior is controlled by the paradigm. Now, the first way is the constant spaced repetition of ideas that are essentially the opposite of the paradigm. That's what our Paradigm Shift Seminar is all about. And that's what I'm inviting you to. Now, the other way, it doesn't happen very often. That's the personal experience of an emotional impact. I'll give you an example. 9/11 in New York, the buildings coming down, that was an emotional impact. Not for me, probably not for you. It was a terrible thing that everybody would agree was an absolute catastrophe. It was a paradigm shift for the people that were involved in that area. When that happened, their lives changed. The family of people that were killed there, paradigm shift. That doesn't happen often. You can count on the other one, a constant spaced repetition. I'm going to show you why. Now look at this for a moment. Why repetition is necessary when changing paradigms. Now you've probably attended a paradigm shift seminar. Go back and attend another one, and another one, and another one. I started to read this book 57 years ago. I'm still reading it. I have a book here open on my desk. Get this over here. Let me grab it. Let's change that here. I have it open. I've been reading these 2 pages, for 3 months because I know that's how paradigms change. It's repetition that actually changes it. Now here's why. I want you to look at this for a moment. Let the white line that I'm going to put on here represent the sound of my voice. The red line represents you listening to the sound of my voice. The white line represents my voice. Now think. So you go along and you're listening. Now there's a difference between listening and hearing. You can hear me and not listen to me. Kids are like that with their parents. Most people are like that with their spouse. They hear them, but they're not listening to them. And so they're in trouble. That's the way it works. So think what I'm saying again. The white line represents the sound of me talking. The red line represents you listening to me talking. Now, I'll go along and I'll be explaining something, and bang, an idea will hit. Where do you go? You go off on a thought trip. You see, those lines are what we call a thought frequency. And you'll be up here and you'll be thinking about that idea that hit your mind. All the while, the white line's still going. I'm still talking, but you don't hear it. You do hear it. You don't listen to it. And then you come back down and you start listening again. And you go along and bang, another idea hits and away you go on another thought trip. So you see, that is why we can listen to the same thing over and over. And you say, I never heard that on there before. I never heard that before. You could be reading it in a book and say, I don't ever remember seeing that in the book. That is because you would be reading, your eyes are going, but your mind is off somewhere else. Now think of this. If you see those red dots and they represent at the point in the seminar when you took an idea and you started to think about it. Let's suppose you come back to it again. Let's tear all this down for a moment and we'll just leave the dots on there. Okay? Now, what do you suppose the odds are of you stopping on that idea the next time you hear the same thing? It isn't going to happen. You're going to come down there. You see, the odds of you stopping at the same point, you're not going to do it. So you're only getting emotionally involved in the idea once, and then you get another idea at another place. Through repetition, everything in your life starts to change. Now, I never knew that, but I started to read this book. And then I started to listen to a recording of Earl Nightingale's battle way back in 1961. I was so fascinated with what Earl was talking about, I couldn't stop listening to it. 10 years later, I was living in England. I was earning over $1 million a year. I had business in 7 different cities in Canada, the US, and England. I was earning all kinds of money. And I started to ask myself, how did this happen? And I could not figure it out. I'd been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you got to be really smart. I knew I wasn't that smart, but I was earning a lot of money. I was raised to believe if you don't go to school, you can't get a good job. I didn't have a good job. I owned the whole company. So then I started to think, well, a lot of the stuff I believe isn't even true. And then I started to think, how the heck did I change? And so I started to study. It took me about 9.5 years. And when I figured it out, all I wanted to do was teach it. And I reasoned it was because of the repetition. I kept listening to this material. I was starting with records, and then we get into cassettes, and on it goes, and then we're online. But it's the repetition of hearing the same thing over and over and over again. And that's what happens to people. That's why almost all welfare recipients are 3rd, 4th, 5th generation welfare recipients. That's all they heard when they were a kid. They were programmed with it at a very early age by the people around them. That's why we learn the language we learn. Can you imagine where you'd be if I said, hi, my name's Bob, what's yours? You wouldn't know your name if your mother or dad just told you once. They tell you over and over and over and over. And pretty soon they'll say, Bob, and you start recognizing. Okay? Now listen carefully. All you have to do is make a decision. I want you to make a decision right now that we're going to deliver a seminar, that you're going to attend it. You can do it wherever you are. It's very inexpensive. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to gain so much knowledge from this. It's absolutely phenomenal. We'll stream it right into your home. Now, the beautiful part about this, it's 2.5, 3 days. If you can't stay there for that whole length of time, you stay for part of it, you get it all recorded. You can come back and you can cut in anywhere you want. And you can do that for up to 2 weeks. So you can spend a couple of weeks really studying this. Gather phenomenal information. It just takes a decision. You know, he mentioned in here that all people that are successful, he spent his whole life, Hill did, Napoleon Hill, studying successful people. He said all successful people make decisions very fast. They change them very slow, if and when they change them at all. I want you to decide right now that you're going to do this. You're going to do it. You're going to build a new model. Buckminster Fuller, the man that built the geodesic dome, he said something interesting. He said, you never change things by fighting existing reality. To change things, you build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Do you know what you'll learn in that 2.5 days in the seminar we're streaming right into your home? First of all, you can get your whole family involved, get the kids involved. They'll understand it. Do you know what you're going to find? You're going to figure out how to build a new model, how to live the life you want. We're God's highest form of creation. Do you know that all the other little creatures on the planet are completely at home in their environment? They blend in. Think about it. Little birds, squirrels, deer, they blend into their environment. You and I are the only creature on the planet that's totally disoriented in our environment. And that is because we've been given the ability to create our own environment. We can sit down, we can take a pen, and we can decree our own destiny. Now, that's what you're going to learn in this seminar. It's so inexpensive, and you can't say you haven't got time because we're giving you 2 weeks to watch it. You can cut in and out whenever you want. And if you're really wise, you're going to cut in and out often. Now, you've probably been struggling with the results, trying to change them. Fuller said, you don't do that. You don't change your existing reality. It's the way it is. It just is that way, but it doesn't have to stay. You change something by building a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. How? Attend the paradigm. A resourceful environment where people from all around the world collaborate. You can be chatting with people on it from various parts of the world. You can make connections with people. You could end up making joint ventures with people, setting up MSIs, and it can all be done in the chat while you're in the seminar. You're going to mastermind. You're going to explore opportunities while developing financial independence by establishing multiple sources of income. We're going to show you how to do it. But understand this. If you've been in it, don't say you got it, because you haven't got it. It's over and over and over. If you are really wise, you will register for every streaming seminar we put on and just keep plugged in. I have never stopped studying it. And you know something? My income just keeps going up and up and up. I'll be 84 in a very short period of time, a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks. I get as much energy as a person 24 or 34. You see, age hasn't got anything to do with it. How old would you be if you forgot your age? Intelligence has nothing to do with it. There's brilliant people who are not making it happen. What has it to do with? It has to do with paradigms. The Paradigm Shift Seminar. The repetition of it, and bang, 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 you start to change your life. It's worth it. Make a decision right now. Hit the button, get in it. And I'll look forward to seeing you in a live seminar in the very near future. Thank you very much.